Call to order, Town of Prescott Valley, August 28, 2025, regular town council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lopez,
Present.
Councilmember Keo,
Present.
Councilmember Freund, Councilmember Greer,
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher,
Present.
Vice Mayor Searcher,
Here.
Mayor Polgota.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'd like to welcome down Elder Stephen Adams with Firm Foundation Bible Church to lead us in our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you can.
Thank you. Shall we pray? Our God and Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening in all humility of spirit, thankful for all your good and gracious hand has provided. We thank you that in your love and sovereignty, that you govern in the affairs of your creation. And now, O Lord, we are gathered in a meeting place where the activities and concerns of this community in which you have placed us are discussed and decided upon. I pray for these proceedings and for those whom you have established to govern, that your wisdom and goodness would prevail, and that in this fine place that we call home, we all might lead quiet and peaceable lives, as your word says. And so, Lord, please visit this place tonight with your grace and mercy and guidance. Glorify your name. For we ask it in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And as a reminder for anyone new here, we also have some Bluetooth technology for hearing aids. So if you would like to take advantage of that, we have Casey Danner somewhere around here. He's in the back of the room with his hand up. He can assist you with that if you would like. Otherwise, hopefully you guys will find the audio and the microphones sufficient enough to hear everyone. With that being said, can I get an approval for the agenda as presented? Or can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor, that passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, proclamations. First one will be National Preparedness Month, and Joel will be coming down for that.
Whereas National Preparedness Month, held each September, serves as a reminder that all residents should take steps to prepare for natural disasters, emergencies, and other unexpected events. And whereas the town of Prescott Valley, which is committed to supporting emergency management efforts, recognizes that preparing for emergencies is vital to the safety and resilience of our community and through preparedness. And whereas emergencies can occur at any time, often without warning, and may result from natural disasters such as wildfires, floods, and severe storms, as well as from human-caused incidents and health-related emergencies. And whereas the challenges posed by natural disasters, human-caused incidents, and other unforeseen events highlight the necessity of preparedness and proactive planning. And whereas by taking steps to develop emergency plans, assemble disaster supply kits, and staying informed about potential hazards that may impact the community, we strengthen the resilience of our society and create a safer, more prepared community for ourselves and future generations. Citizens are encouraged to sign up for rave alerts at pvalerts.gov, download the Smart 911 Notifications app, and download the Genesis Protect app to reinforce their situational awareness. Now, therefore, I, Kel Paguda, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Preparedness Month and encourage all residents, businesses, and organizations to take action by making emergency plans, building 2-week emergency kits, and staying informed.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, I'm honored to accept this proclamation for National Preparedness Month. Preparedness is essential to our community's safety and resilience. Thank you for recognizing the importance of being ready for emergencies that may come our way. Let's work together to stay informed, prepared, supportive of one another. Preparedness starts with each of us, and together we can make our community safer and stronger. Thank you.
Next up, Patriot Week proclamation. Welcome Pilar Henry and her team down front.
Whereas from the tragedy of September 11, 2001, a new spirit has arisen, a stronger sense of family, community, and brotherhood and patriotism, and we have come together as Americans. And whereas America is fully committed to ensuring our freedoms remain unfettered and sovereign for all generations, now and forever. And whereas we wish to honor and remember all those who lost their lives and who have demonstrated the ultimate sacrifice for their country. And whereas we wish to honor and pay tribute to the men, women, and families who were affected in our town, as well as those who worked so diligently to help our people recover. And whereas commencing September 5th, 2025, with the placement of the flags of the Prescott Valley Healing Fields of Northern Arizona, and with the commemoration of the tragic events of September 11, 2001, we join the entire nation in the recognition of Patriot Day, September 11, 2025, to remember and honor the invisible spirit of America and its heroes. Whereas this commemoration should be conducted each September 11 throughout the land to include the promotion of global peace and goodwill, the advancement of patriotism and love of country, and the remembrance of those innocent victims who died September 11 as heroes, one and all. Now, therefore, I, Kel Paguda, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, do hereby proclaim September 5th through the 12th as Patriot Week. Thank you.
We just want to say a huge thank you for all our community volunteers that come out. We will see you this coming a week from Friday for flag set up at 7 a.m. And you can go to our website, which is healingvopv.com, to find out all about it.
Okay, everybody ready? One more. Great, thank you.
Next up, we have our Tri-Advocates Legislative Update. At this time, I'll welcome down our Representative Quan Nguyen to lead us off. I know it's not what we discussed, sir, but I'm calling you down now. Yes, sir, you're up. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members and everyone. Mr. Davidson came up to me and told me that I got an hour and a half, so.
Mr. Davidson was lying to you, sir. You do not have an hour.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here today. The session is over. There's kind of an echo going on here. We'll still continue to work pretty much every day. So Representative Selena Bliss isn't here today, but she sent me about 6 pages of updates. So I'm just going to go by real quick so that I can get to my update. She sponsored 56 bills at the State House for this session. 21 bills passed out of the House, and she actually had 13 bills signed into law, which is pretty amazing for a divided government. It's amazing. So I'm very proud to have her as my seatmate. So I'm going to go through a couple of bills that she has. And House Bill 2129, Inactive Voters Hand Counts Alternates. House Bill 2127, Hazardous Substance Release Notice Liability. Let's see, let me go. HCM 27, Hard Rock Mines Remediation Urging Support. I know I'm giving you the short titles, but if I give you all the long titles, I'll be here for 3 hours. So this is what Representative Bliss is working on. The early ballots require signature verification to be due by 7 p.m. on Friday before the election. Instead of pushing the deadline all the way to election night, we're going to try to save some time processing the ballots over the weekend so we can get the result to you a little faster. Working with Michelle Burchell, the county recorder, to draft legislation to reduce the length of the ballots and pages needed for ballots. So anytime at all that we introduce a lot of bills and a lot of ballot referrals, you're going to have 2 pages. When you have multiple pages, then you're going to have delay. A lot of us send in 1 page, and it's kind of messed up the entire system. So we're trying to resolve that problem. She's got something on deed fraud. She's working on short-term rental. I know there's a problem across the entire state. Other than that, I would bring her back here and grill her. All right, so this is important. Funding brought back to the district and the state. $1 million to support law enforcement via Sheriff's Office for a public safety substation in Southwest Yavapai County. $1 million for infrastructure for road improvements in Cottonwood. $500,000 for Prescott Territorial Governor Mansion. Apparently, she mentioned me as the person that helped her with the rodeo money. So since we're on the rodeo money, I just want to take a quick second. That is a appropriations that she and I worked in 2023 to make sure we improve the rodeo grounds. And well, we can all be proud of it. It's a statewide situation. And I remember when I was in a meeting, several state senators came up and basically said, we wish we had that rodeo in our district. So everybody was pretty happy with that. So, but I continue to say that it was a project that sort of like an orphan that nobody wanted in 2023, but it's got a hell of a lot of parents in 2025. Everybody, wants to have it. But reality in 2024, when they had $1 billion deficit, it was Selena Bliss and I that actually fought and trying to get support from Speaker Ben Toma to never allow that money to be swept into the general fund because that money belongs to LD1 Yavapai County. And so we fought on that the entire year to make sure it's not swept. And so here we are. I'm proud to be a part of it. All right, so it's my turn. We have a budget right here. Instead of going through the entire budget, since I'm the chairman of Judiciary Committee, he's smiling over there. So I'm going to go through the law enforcement side of what I actually do in terms of creating this budget. 5% raise for state law enforcement and firefighters, $8.7 million to modernize vehicle fleet at the Highway Patrol, $1.6 million to the Department of Public Safety, anti-human trafficking and fund. Spouses of law enforcement officers have college scholarship program funded, and it is now made permanent. $1.5 million of Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center, $13 million for the building upgrades for the Department of Public Safety facilities. I've been working on this for a long time, but we just cannot get over the hump. But I'm so glad somebody got that done. Hang on. $500,000 to implement nuisance law and public camping law. All right, I should have skipped that one, but that's all right. So, what do we do at the Judiciary Committee? How am I doing on time? Pretty good, about 5 minutes? I'll take another 5 minutes, all right. Judiciary Committee advanced major reforms in 2025 to defend vulnerable population, support law enforcement, and close legal loopholes or related digital age. So these are the important bills that we actually passed, extremely important for public safety. Age verification for online pornography, that was sponsored by Representative Nick Cupper. This is my bill, sexual conduct with a minor sentencing increase. Now, so you understand when an adult having an improper sexual relationship with a minor 15 to 17, that's used to be class 6. So it's sort of like a slap on the wrist, but we moved that to class 4 with a whole lot of opposition. And the governor actually told me that she would not sign that bill, but I convinced her that it's important to protect children. And so, long conversation, but she signed it. 2115, observing a nude minor. So apparently, prior to this year, you can convince a child to strip down nude. As long as you don't take a picture and not touch a child, it is not a crime. So we have now made it a crime. It is a class 2 felony. So I kind of enjoy putting pedophiles away, just FYI. 2607, fentanyl trafficking. A year ago, we passed the Ashley Dunn Act that if you have 200 grams of fentanyl and you are proven to be a seller, you actually will go to jail, mandatory minimum 5 years. And the governor had a hard time with that, but she signed it. So this year, we have fentanyl trafficking sentencing, which means that if you have 200 grams of fentanyl in your car, we just have to prove that you got messages in there that you intend to sell. That's also another minimum mandatory of 5 years. And if you have a prior, it goes to 10 years. Preston law, that's basically if you have a group of people attacking an individual, that gets you a pretty severe sentence. Let's see what else. This is probably one of the biggest bills that I worked on. Transnational repression. I'm actually going after the Chinese Communist Party. So we have a situation in Scottsdale where these agents, foreign agents, are attacking Chinese Americans and intimidate them. So now, whatever crime they commit on these Arizonans, it'll be one class, we'll be charged one class higher. So we're trying to get this bill into all 50 states, and I believe Arizona is number 7 out of 50. Other than that, my future bill, I'm going to continue to work on a camera bill in long-term care facilities to protect the elderly population. This is my 3rd year working on it. Unfortunately, it fell twice already. Cannot get through the Senate. Law enforcement funding. This year, I was able to find $420,000 for the surveillance system for Prescott Valley PD, and I'm going to continue to work on the meat transparent label bill. If the meat is lab grown, it should be stated as lab grown. and not mixed in with all of the other meat. Other than that, I am done for the evening.
Sir, I am proud of you. I'm going to tell you. You kept it short and sweet with all the accomplishments you have. And on behalf of Prescott Valley, what you do down in the Capitol makes Prescott Valley safer. And we appreciate that.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir,
it.
for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Man, a
support.
round of applause.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. I'm Julie Reese with Troy Advocates, and I just wanted to thank you for this opportunity to be with you here this evening. Our team is very privileged and honored to represent your interests at the legislature and to work with your legislative delegation. I'd also like to publicly thank Mr. Nguyen because this level of engagement and the championship that he and Representative Bliss provide for the Prescott Valley community is unique, and it's very special, and it yields some fantastic results, as he shared with us here this evening. My colleague Roxana and I are also going to talk about some of the bad issues that were introduced at the legislature that didn't advance because of the tremendous work of Representative Nguyen and Representative Bliss. So thank you again for having us here tonight. And with that, I'm going to introduce my esteemed colleague Roxana.
Thanks, Julie, Mayor, members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to present to you about some of the highlights of the 25 session. If we could go to the next slide, please. Every session is unique. Here's just sort of a breakdown of the high-level numbers that we experienced this session. When I first started my legislative career approximately 12 years ago, it used to be the case that we used to kind of, session was January through May, and that was it. In the last few years, we've been trending upward. This year in particular, 166 days in session, adjourned June 27th, just 3 days shy of the start of the new fiscal year. So we came really close to not having a budget in time, but the legislature came through. If we could go on to the next slide. Here is just sort of a breakdown that you're familiar with of our legislative split in the House and Senate. They are Republican-controlled majority chambers. The dynamic that I should have put on this slide is the element of our Democratic governor, which certainly creates an interesting, never boring dynamic between the legislature and the executive. They are often caught in the press for things that are, controversial, but for the most part, I would say 80 to 85% of the work that the legislature does is bipartisan. Certainly, we see that tug and pull relationship with the number of vetoes that we saw this year, but again, we attribute that to divided government. Just to highlight some of the hot topics that dominated the session this year, housing is, continues to be something that kind of comes through every year. In the last few years, certainly zoning has been a topic of conversation and preemption of localities in that respect. But other, good things like additional funding for affordable housing and addressing veteran homelessness was also a priority this year. In the education space, which I know you don't directly deal with, but certainly your residents care about. The major theme this year was whether the legislature would send a referral to the voters to reauthorize Proposition 123. That measure, approved by voters in 2016, expired earlier this year. And without that funding, schools aren't necessarily going to see a loss, but the source of where funding comes from will shift. So there was ultimately no reauthorization of Prop 123. There was a lot of discussion about it. I think it's a topic that we'll continue to hear about next year. But for all intents and purposes, school funding remains whole because the state general fund came through and filled that gap where the land trust could not anymore because of the expiration. And with that, I'll turn it over to Julie to discuss a few more topics.
I did want to call out specifically similar vein of thinking with the K through 12 funding that wasn't extended. There was also a lot of legislative discussion around affordable housing and the extension of Arizona's state low-income housing tax credit. The LIHTC program is something that the federal government has put additional resources into, but there was a lack of agreement between the legislature and the governor this year. So Arizona's state low-income housing tax credit program will be sunsetting in December, and that's another topic that we anticipate will be hot for the upcoming 2026 legislative session. Next slide, please.
Here are a couple of the items that were specific to local government, specific to Prescott Valley. Certainly, the repeal or the proposed repeal of the food tax was one that dominated, I think, our lives for mid-February to March. Once again, as we've seen in the last couple of years, there was a proposal to repeal that tax entirely, which would have impacted Prescott Valley along with a total of 70 other communities around the state. Total fiscal impact would have been around $230 million statewide. This was an area where we engaged directly with your staff to communicate the impacts of that legislation to your delegation. It was a brutal fight, but ultimately the advocacy from local governments, coordinated by the league, did essentially come to a resolution, to a compromise that will mean that your rate will be preserved, and any community that has a rate will have theirs preserved. In addition, any community that does not have a food tax right now but seeks one or would like to have one in the future would have to take that to their voters, and it would have to be under 2%. And so that is a question that will be on the November 26th ballot for voters to consider. But should it pass, your local revenue from that source would be protected. The other topic that I briefly mentioned was zoning. I think this is the fourth year, actually the third year, where this topic has come up. The bill that dominated this area this year was starter home legislation, which was originally proposing to essentially set a minimum lot size of 1,500 square feet across all communities, and had certain restrictions on setbacks and limits on public hearings. That measure ultimately did not pass. That was, again, thanks to the advocacy of local governments. Some of these discussions are really prompted by the concern from lawmakers, understandable concern about the cost of housing today. And there's just sort of a divide in how to address that problem, whether it's through zoning or additional incentives. It seems like a problem that everyone wants to coalesce around. It's just how we get there is the challenge. This year, we saw a lot of a big push on transportation and infrastructure funding in the budget. If we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. The budget this year, like I'd mentioned, really came together just 3 days before our deadline. The $17.6 billion spending package was a bipartisan agreement. And like I'd mentioned to you, we hear a lot about gridlock at the Capitol, but with divided government, it almost forces compromise on things like the budget, and we've seen that every year for the past 3 years. Certainly some wins. Representative Nguyen mentioned a couple of those. Other things to highlight include pay raises for DPS officers, a 15% pay raise for state firefighters, and investments in coordinated homelessness services. I believe there's a $2 million allocation for veteran homeless services specifically. And a big investment this year was on childcare. I think $45 million in state monies plus additional federal monies. That was a big priority for the governor this year. Next slide.
So as we look to the upcoming session, which will kick off in January, we can anticipate that water will continue to be a very hot topic. We know that it's a priority for Republicans in the House and the Senate, as well as for our Democratic governor. So as Roxana has mentioned several times, I think the key with the divided government is bringing the parties together and finding areas of negotiation and compromise. We'll certainly work with your team to keep you apprised as the water legislation moves forward. We also wanted to note that the state is starting to anticipate how the big beautiful bill will impact our state budget here in Arizona. And so we can anticipate that there will be some good and some bad associated with those impacts. On the positive side, with the reauthorization of the Opportunity Zone legislation, we can anticipate that that is something that you have a role to play in. That could also translate to affordable housing, economic development, some really positives for the community. At the state level, on the healthcare side, I think they're anticipating that there could be some cost shifting that occurs. So we'll continue to keep you apprised of that. And then as it relates to housing, we've mentioned the state low-income housing tax credit, the interest that the state legislature and governor have in terms of facilitating workforce housing. Prescott Valley has actually received one of the few state LIHTC awards that were accomplished under our program, which existed for 4 years. So we will definitely keep you informed as legislation comes forward in that area, as well as with the K through 12 funding, as Roxana had noted. And we wanted to note that all 90 seats of the legislature are up in the 2026 election. So you will be getting a lot of political campaign materials, but hopefully a lot of outreach from clients wanting to engage in the Prescott Valley community and to understand how they can collaborate and partner with the town of Prescott Valley. Next slide, please. We would welcome any questions from you here this evening, and are very grateful for this opportunity, and look forward to seeing you again in December as we meet with your legislative delegation.
Ma'am, I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you and your team on what you guys do. I know one of your team members isn't here this evening. We will let him know. But we just let him know that we appreciate him as well. So there's a lot of work what goes down at the Capitol, and it definitely benefits Prescott Valley having a voice because of you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I also want to acknowledge your staff team, led by Gilbert, but also with Ryan and Skylar. We really appreciate the opportunity and the direction that they provide.
Any questions, council? Ladies, I just apologize. You drove all the way up here to speak to us for 20 minutes, and then now you have to drive all the way back.
Mayor, we are so grateful to be here and to have some raindrops fall on the windshield. That was absolutely glorious. So we'll come back anytime.
That makes you happy. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
While we're on item 6, I want to draw your attention, if you're a speaker, to the top screen, might help you out this evening. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must register their name with the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. The clerk's going to read 4 names. So if you are not seated up close and your name is read, if you would just please work your way down towards the front and wait your turn. So, clerk.
So the first 4 names that I have are Max Hathaway, Bruce Evans, Patricia Betzold, and Steve Karros.
Mr. Hathaway, you guys all listened and were already in the front, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Max Hathaway. First, my thanks to the Town Council for passing the resolution that created the Citizens Advisory Committee with respect to the Recreation Center. We completed our work last night. You'll be seeing it at some point. It was a great idea to reach out and seek the direct input of residents when it comes to such an important project. Also, a shout out to Skylar Barton for doing an outstanding job keeping us moving in the right direction and providing us with the materials and information we needed. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the lawsuit that has been filed by Mr. Bruce Evans in an effort to kill the referendum that relates to the Links project, also known as the Amazon project. I've looked at the complaint. My gloss on it is that Mr. Evans is claiming that a misstep occurred in the process whereby the applicants or the petitioners were applying for a serial number to put on their petitions and also to get a copy of the ordinance. There's going to be an evidentiary hearing on October 24th, and that'll sort through the facts. This may truly boil down to nothing other than a paperclip. That's not clear right now. One thing that is clear right now is that this did not need to happen, and it doesn't need to happen again. I urge the town council to speak with the town attorney and seek having a checklist created that shows each and every step that must be completed in the process that went was subject now to the lawsuit and the order in which they need to be done. That can then be shipped out to outside counsel that has an expertise in municipal law. An opinion letter can be issued blessing it, and this will never have to happen again. Also, I want to urge the town council to speak with the town attorney about getting involved in the lawsuit beyond just making employees available as witnesses. I filed yesterday a motion in the lawsuit to seek the ability to file a brief. It's called an amicus brief. In that motion, I make an argument that if the court accepts it, would allow the referendum to go forward without casting any blame on anybody in the clerk's office or with respect to the citizens. So I urge you, I'm going to send a copy to each of you guys. I urge you to read it and consider whether it's worth walking down the hall and talking to Ivan about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Bruce Evans, Quillwood Meadows, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I'm the Bruce Evans who filed the lawsuit about 3 weeks ago. And while on the facts it may look very administrative, I think it's important to understand that from my point of view, it was a total abusive process. It's an 86,000 square foot warehouse on 19 acres of land. It's a ridiculous use of the referendum law. Beyond that, I'd like to talk a little bit about hypocrisy and double standards. As I've engaged in the public square, and I've stated before, there are several groups that are very negative about what's going on in the town, full of misinformation, recriminations, and basically a quashing of rights. They're very quick to talk about a right to vote, a right to a referendum, a right to this, a right to that. If you disagree with them, your right to free speech gets quashed, and I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a recently resigned council member who has a Facebook page where he makes a lot of crazy allegations, some of them defamatory, and I'm seeking legal advice on that one. But he bans people that disagree with him. And that's just unconstitutional. And in fact, it's worse than that, but I won't use any defamatory words. The other thing is, in a similar vein, on Nextdoor, it's very one-sided, and it should be a good public forum. The people that came up with it, it was supposed to be moderated speech to make people nicer. It's actually the opposite. It gets abused, and it's been abused in this town. My understanding is that at least 2 of the moderators are also members of PACs, which have various axes to grind on various subjects. And if you disagree with them, you get banned. I'm currently in Nextdoor jail for about another 10 days. I said nothing defamatory. I said nothing inflammatory. They could make statements that would peel off the wall or peel paint off the walls, but other people that disagree with, and that's just unfair. You've got people on the other side of a question that get to say if your speech gets posted to a public site. So it's, and it shows a disdain for the public. One other quick thing, their disdain for the rights and future of the townspeople are clear from things like raising money through the POA at PCC. They might want their attorney to look at Section 528 and see if they've abused the people of that community. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Betchelt. Mr. Karros, you're on deck.
Patricia Betzel, Chino Hill, previously of Granville. I'm here to set the record straight. I understand a Stone Ridge resident was blaming PVCA for my secret meeting post at the last meeting, and that's unfortunate because PVCA didn't have anything to do with it. I know the residents of Stone Ridge are worried about their homes and their neighborhood and what a mine down the street would do to them. We are all fighting to stop mining within town limits, not just in Stone Ridge, but in everyone's neighborhood. No one should be forced to live close to a mine. A lot of misinformation was shared at the 2 separate meetings in Stone Ridge recently. That information was designed to instill fear and divisiveness by certain members of council. It echoes information that was also shared in 23 and 24 while we were fighting the first initiative to do the mine. Things like the mine follows all the rules meticulously, and then APS receives a notice of violation in November of 23 from ADAQ to provide a required bag house or dust collector that is to stop silica dust, but they never equipped the plant with it. At an open meeting at Stone Ridge in November of 23, comments made by the mayor about mine site number 1. If it doesn't go to a new location, it'll have to go to Fame Park, and there won't be any rules because it's already permitted for that. That is false. It has to be rezoned from its current residential zoning, and the town has to allow access to public right-of-ways. It's very expensive, but we'll look at buying the park. False. The town has owned the park since 2002, so promises to enlarge it could have been done years ago. We talk about the neighborhood meeting that was focusing on rezoning mine site number 2 from residential to industrial for a 20,000-ton blasting mining operation and a 20-foot wide dirt road that will haul the sand and gravel right back to the existing processing plant near Fane Lake, where they'd crush the aggregate, making clear that no matter what mine site is chosen in that area, crushing of rock will still happen at that plant, and that generates silica dust. Also, the document continued to state that the town would determine whether this part-time use is compliant with the general plan designation of the surrounding areas, which are residential. There's all sorts of issues with that, including blasting, et cetera. People know about that. And then the Courier stated that the town and the Fane family have worked together to find a place that wouldn't hurt neighborhoods, but yet it's only a quarter mile from the Blue Hills community and less than a mile from Stone Ridge and Prescott County. Aren't these neighborhoods? So we've been fighting alongside with Stone Ridge residents to stop new mining in PBs, and we hope that the residents there understand that certain members of council have demonstrated they're not interested in the welfare of residents, but rather focus on appeasing the Fanes. And finally, understand this, you are not alone in Stone Ridge. We have your back. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Karros, clerk, who are our next 4 up?
The next 4 names is Sandy Graham, Steve Rossetti, Karen Hunt, and Joe Colosimo.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Steve Karros, Pronghorn Ranch. I'm holding the July 25th Prescott Valley Tribune opinion section. Editor Tim Wiederenders wrote a half-page piece entitled, "Forget Politics, Character is the Real Issue." He describes character as not something we're born with, it's forged day by day in how we interact with others. This is especially true with regards to our leaders. In late 2021, I began to receive lewd and threatening phone calls from a restricted line, which continued for nearly 4 years, ending this March. The police department took many reports but said they had no way of identifying the perpetrator. Meanwhile, you, Mr. Mayor, stated publicly at least 4 times, 2 from this very dais and 2 on social media that I saw, that I was making this up. In other words, you were saying I was lying. As a retired detective, I saw no reason that the perpetrator couldn't be identified. So after numerous reports to the police, I finally gave up and submitted my own investigation with the Yavapai County attorney, and together we quickly identified the suspect. This is an injunction against harassment against him. Was issued at the Prescott Courthouse and served. He immediately ceased his behavior under threat of arrest. Mr. Mayor, it is astonishing that you would defame someone that you know maintains a law firm on retainer. As the Tribune states, we need leaders who demonstrate honesty, humility, and the kind of quiet leadership that inspires. Indeed, we expect and even demand character and integrity from you. I am offering you an opportunity to publicly apologize to me this very evening and begin to forge some of that character. It is also appropriate for you and the Vice Mayor to initiate a return to installing the full ethics policy that was rendered impotent by this council against the desires and good of this community. Mr. Mayor.
Are you done, sir? This is your time.
Apparently so.
Thank you. Next up, clerk.
Steve Rossetti.
Welcome, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, Steve Rossetti, residing in Granville. I just have something positive to share tonight. The Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce just completed its 32nd annual Pronghorn Golf Course. We had great Prescott Valley weather. Happy to report that Vice Mayor Zurcher did not break any windows with the stray golf balls this year, so thank you, sir. And I want to give special recognition to our title sponsor who really made this all happen, Yellowstone Landscaping, led by Stan Skavarik, who is a local resident here in town, has a great company. And I just want to say thank you, sir. And if you want to, I know you have some employees in the audience.
Yeah.
If they want to stand up.
Yeah. Tommy Sterrick is our branch manager, and Sarah Ragland is our new BDM, Business Development Manager, for up here.
So I just want to share something positive tonight with you all, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy Graham, Karen Hunt, Joe Colosimo, and Christian Rodriguez.
Ma'am. Ma'am, you're up now, please. And then we have Miss Hunt right after you. You can work on down. I think there's a spot for you down here, Miss Hunt. Where? I think there's one right down here next to Mr. Abels.
Greetings, Mayor, Town Council, and staff. I'm Sandy Graham, Chair of the Prescott Valley Citizens Alliance and representing PVCA here tonight. In the call to the public on August 14th, Joe Cozumel stated numerous false statements about PVCA. Joe had told a member of our board that he would attend this town council meeting tonight and make a declaration of rebuttal. I saw Joe here tonight, but I'm not sure he's here to make the rebuttal. I would like to make corrections for the record. Joe stated that leading members of PVCA had lied about the government tank location to this council and to the residents of Prescott Valley. At no time did a representative of PVCA speak at town council or have any meetings with residents. Joe stated that 2 years ago, PVCA, along with people from Prescott Country Club, started a petition to stop the mine off of Old Black Canyon Road. PVCA has never applied to circulate any petition of any kind in Prescott Valley. Joe also made the statement that PVCA was all over social media using scare tactics and lies to get what they wanted. Again, the petition was never initiated by PVCA, so there was nothing to be wanted. Yet another untrue statement made by Joe to this council was PVCA started rumors of a secret meeting between residents and town council. 4 other erroneous statements spoken to this council were PVCA couldn't tell you why Faines chose that location. PVCA has not physically seen the site. PVCA came over to Stone Ridge to gather support and lied to residents about the old Black Canyon location. Residents of Stone Ridge stated that PVCA told residents that they would be poisoned to death and their homes destroyed by blast. The only truth spoken in any of these accusations is that PVCA was not invited on the private tours of the government tank site. I would like to remind everyone, including the mayor and the vice mayor, that anytime a speaker is representing PVCA, they will state this in their introduction. Whenever any statements that are not factual are made about PVCA, we will counter these with the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Hunt, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, and Vice Mayor and Council. My name is Karen Hunt. I live in Prescott Valley. I would like to talk to you about something that I'm very interested because of my family history and military. There is a group of organizations that are going to the animal rescue groups, and they are training these young dogs to be like PTSD or medical. And I think that is a wonderful thing because my dad had dogs. And matter of fact, the last dog died with him in Minnesota with the stupid road work that they did that caused my mom to have lose control of the car and have a car accident. And both cars, boom, exploded. My dad was burned so bad we had to have a closed casket. And in the state of Minnesota, they did sloppy road work. And the dog died with my father. So I am a big supporter of this organization where this group are going to animal shelters, animal rescue places, and training these dogs for post-traumatic stress. They used to call it shell shock. My dad and my uncles and cousin drank the horrors of war away. And I had one cousin that survived Stalag 9. He was captured in the Battle of the Bulge, survived Stalag 9 for 4 months until he was rescued. And he wouldn't even talk about it until a book was written about on the Pfannenstiels in the war. And he was forced to talk about it. And so, like I said, so he saw a lot of things. And I also had cousins and uncles in Vietnam. I had an uncle that was in the Cuban fiasco. And then he became a police officer. And like I said, we got to support. I like to see the town of Prescott Valley support an organization like that for the veterans. And I know we have a lot of veterans in this group here. So I just want to bring that awareness to you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
Okay.
Clerk?
Joe Colosimo, and then Christian Rodriguez.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Joe Colosimo, Stone Ridge. Gosh, so much of my material has been taken. I don't know what I should go with. First of all, you can't be a part of all these different groups and then say, one day I am, one day I'm not. And if I offended the PVCA because I got it wrong because you have so many members and so many different
I
groups.
don't mean to interrupt, but you just need to focus your comments to the council,
Yeah.
that's all.
If I got it wrong because you have so many members in so many different groups, and you're all talking to each other. So one day you're part of the group, the next day you're not. I was told by Isabel that the Citizens for Sensible Development is the group I really should have been targeting. But yet, when you go on the Nextdoor apps and stuff like that, you see that these groups are all talking to each other. So even though they're claiming to be different entities, they're all in it together. And I don't know how to control that. I don't know who's who. I only know who's talking. I did my best last time I spoke to not mention names and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that. I really don't care at this point. But I do want to mention a few things. These groups have mentioned that the Fains own the mine. No, the Fains don't own the mine, they own the land. McCormick owns the mine, and APNS are the miners. The violation that you just heard about regarding 2023 was a violation. It was like a fix-it ticket, okay? They didn't have the proper equipment. ADEQ came out and said, you need to fix it. They fixed it. Done. No penalties or anything like that, and it was done and over with. I want to make it really clear on something. At some point in time, there's going to be a vote of the council to move the location from Stone Ridge over to Government Tank. If that doesn't go through, then Stone Ridge gets the mine. That's it. That's all there is to it. I've been to every single one of these sites, so I know what I've seen. I've been there without a mask. The Fains, the McCormicks are running this very cleanly. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is something you all need to understand. The Fains have made it clear they want to gift the land around Fain Park to the town. If this does not go through or goes to a ballot, the mine doesn't get stopped. It stays.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, council members, mayor, vice mayor. My name is Christian Rodriguez, and I belong to the Tri-City Table Tennis Club. I'm here with a few members of the club, and we are like a professional table tennis club. We have a lot of members, and we're set to renew the tables in a few months, and we would like to donate 2 tables. And I read in the newspaper that you guys were going to be talking about the Wheelhouse Complex, and we think that would be the perfect facility for these tables to be hosted. And also, we meet in the morning, so that's one of the problems we have in Prescott Valley about junior table tennis development. They can't play in the mornings because they have to go to school. And I'd like to consider or offer to you guys the consideration to host these tables in that facility, and hopefully we can get some good juniors to play at the Arizona State level.
Thank you, sir. There's a gentleman in the back, Ryan Judy. He'll be raising his hand. You can just make sure he has some of your information, sir, and I appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, council communication. Oh, I'm sorry, clerk, are we all done?
No, I was just going to say no one else.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to council communications. I'll start to my right. Councilwoman?
I'll just say, we were at the League of Cities and Towns last week, and we had an opportunity to attend some fabulous classes and gain knowledge and network with some other cities and towns. And I just thought it was fabulous. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir?
Probably quite a few of you folks have heard, but not everyone. You know, we used to have the little cafe here in the library, Michael D's, and sadly, Michael D passed away last weekend. And he had a lot of friends and a lot of fans of his food, and he was a good guy. So, adios, my friend.
Vice Mayor. Mr. Davidson?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just an announcement for the community. Our annual State of the Town, which is held in January, we're starting to accept nominations for the Light of PV Award, which we had the inaugural one last year, and that will be an open nomination process. So anyone in the community that would like to recognize someone, or it could be a group that is doing great work for this community, bringing positive light to help improve the conditions of our great community, is a great way to recognize them. And so if people are interested in nominating someone or a group, they can go to the Prescott Valley town website and just type in Light of PV Award, and it'll take you right to the page where you can fill out the online nomination form. And the last thing I have is we are transitioning from our monthly report format to a dashboard format. So we're in that process right now. So just letting everyone know, if you do like reading that monthly report, it will be turning into a dashboard with a lot of easy to read indicators on all of the critical things taking place within the town organization. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, we've had a chance to review the consent agenda. I would like to just remove item 9G for a separate discussion. So if I can get a motion to approve 9A through 9F.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve items 9A through 9F under consent agenda by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Lopez, how do you wish to vote?
Aye.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. And for item 9G, Yavapai County Flood Control District, it's our IGA. Ms. Ruder, do you mind for a moment just briefly mention that? And I'd like to recognize Supervisors D. Jenkins, Supervisor Chair Mary Mallory, and County Manager Maury Thompson in the back of the room for the great partnerships that we have with you guys. We appreciate what you do. And with that cooperation, good things get done for the residents of our area. So thank you for that. And Ms. Ruder, anything to add?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I just want to say thank you so much to the county for partnering with us. Each year, flood control comes to us with an IGA to help fund our projects as we move forward. And over the past several years, we have been able to fund several drainage improvement projects and also major drainage improvement projects. So I'd like to give them an opportunity if they'd like to come up and say anything.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. So it's always an honor. As a county, I've always said we're partners, and that's what we are, and that's how this community works, and we all have the same constituents. So it's always an honor to be able to partner and bring great projects that look. The taxpayers actually get to see their tax dollars at work. And so it looked like to me we had about $488,000 here for the town, and I hope that does a great job for all of you. And I do need to recognize Supervisor D. Jenkins. She is the supervisor for District 2, and of course, her and I share the town, and we're very honored to partner with you. So thank you very much for all your service.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Jenkins, I believe you're going to be in Stone Ridge. Is it next Thursday? At what time? Well, we'll find out when she's going to be there. So for Stone Ridge residents, if you'd like to meet your supervisor, she's going to be there along with some other county personnel as well. So look for her at the clubhouse. Thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion for 9G.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the intergovernmental agreement with Yavapai County Flood Control District for fiscal year 2025-2026 for listed stormwater management improvements in the total amount of $488,054.57.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Lopez?
Yes.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 10A, ZMC 25-002, Robert Road Duplex, lot number 961. And I'm hoping, ma'am, that you also cover duplex lot number 962 in this one presentation.
Yes, that is correct. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, my name is Brittany Cleveland. I'm a Planner 1 with Development Services. I will be presenting ZMC 25-002 and 003 in this one presentation. So today we're looking at these parcels here located at the intersection of Spouse and Robert, just south of the Domino's Pizza store. We're just north of the floodplain there, and if you look around, there's some multifamily developments nearby. For every project, we have to look at the general plan compatibility. Just wanted to quickly touch on the community commercial designation for this area. If you'll remember, this council previously passed a general plan amendment for a duplex project to community commercial. So we did find that this is compatible. So today we're talking about a zone map change, but it's not a traditional zone map change. We're not looking to change the zoning designation from RS4. We are actually only looking to amend previous council conditions within the original ordinance 489. Doing a little bit of history research on the original proposal for this rezoning. The original rezoning proposal was just for that lot 963 with the Domino's development on it. In their process, during their planning and zoning commission, they did not recommend approval to council. They wanted to have more of a transitional zoning. So they came back and partnered with the property owners of these lots at the time to get that transitional zoning from commercial to the residential limited. Today, if this application came in for a duplex project, we would allow it by right. It's just due to these previous conditions that we would not allow it. Here is the site plan that the applicant provided. This is a master plan duplex product. Hello? Okay, sorry. So they have developed this throughout the town. You'll see it everywhere. We've been working with the applicant to create a above standard development, a little bit, more than just what minimum code requirements are. So here are some pictures of the product itself built on another lot in town. The photos have been edited to kind of capture what we're trying to do is make a more modern product to suit the area there. And the town has been looking at affordable housing options, so we just wanted to quickly plug in here that duplexes are identified as missing middle housing as identified by our housing assessment done by Elliott Pollock and Company. The applicant is here, and I am also available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a public hearing, so I will open it up as a public hearing. And is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this topic? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, do we have any questions for staff? I believe the one picture you showed was actually just down the street from this actual location where they built that two-story duplex. So I have no questions. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-959, approving ZMC 25-002 by title only on two separate occasions, then place the same on final passage by electronic vote.
Can I have a second? Second. Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor, that passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ordinance number 2025-959, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map CMC 25-002 by preserving the RS4 residential services zoning designation, but amending the original conditions applied to Lot 961, Prescott Valley Unit 3 in ordinance number 489, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Because these are separate items, the next item up, 10B, ZMC 25-003, this is also a public hearing, which I'll open right now. Does anyone wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And council, do we have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I should have confirmed that the stipulations that were added by P&Z are included in this motion for the wall extension.
Yes, that is correct. That's written in the ordinance.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's all there.
Seeing nothing else, can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-960, approving ZMC 25-003 by title only on two separate occasions, then place the same on final passage.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor, that passes unanimously. Ordinance number 2025-960, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map ZMC 25-003 by preserving the RS4 residential services zoning designation, but amending the original conditions applied to Lot 962, Prescott Valley Unit 3 in ordinance number 489, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. I thought you were going to be presenting for 10C, so I was going to hold on to comments, but I believe this was the first time you've presented in front of council. I just want to say you did a great job. Next up, item 10C, Town Code Amendment, Fence Materials. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Tracy Lira, Director of Neighborhood Services. Town Code Chapter 13 zoning changes were recently adopted in December of 2024. With the recent changes of fencing and screening material, our code compliance team has found the code difficult to interpret. So this amendment provides clarifications to the language to identify what is not allowed. Often we see chain link with fabric cover or privacy screening that is not UV or wind resistant. This can cause deterioration in the product, which may lead to debris or other public nuisance. So challenges in this interpretation is the basis of the amendment to add the new subsection. On August 11th, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing where the commission did approve the amendment with a condition that alternative materials may be considered, providing that material spec sheets and installation are acceptable to the zoning administrator. I will note, if mayor and council would like to have this condition, there would need to be a proposed language change. Also note that if an alternate material were to be created in the future that would support this long-term durability, staff can always review the code and bring it back to council at that time. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. And this is also a public hearing, which will open right now. Does anyone feel compelled to talk about fence material this evening? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Council, will you have any additional questions for staff? Thank you, ma'am. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-953 relating to fencing materials by title only on two separate occasions and place the final passage, also adding the language that Tracy spoke about.
A second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor, that passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up,
Hold on,
oh, go
Mayor.
ahead, I'm sorry.
What's the specific language? We need to put it in the ordinance if you want the specific language.
Can you just reference to what Tracy said?
We can, or we can just, if material comes to being, we can just change the ordinance. That she recommended.
So planning and zoning said the specific language of alternate materials may be considered, providing that material spec sheets and installation are acceptable to the zoning administrator. Or the other option is, at the time new material is available, we could revisit code.
Exactly what, yeah.
That's fine. Can we just go the way the original motion was written? If it needs to come back to staff, it can come back, or come back to council, it can just come back at a later time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Clerk?
Ordinance number 2025-953, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, enacting sections 13-7-75 fence materials in Article 13-7 general provisions in Chapter 13 zoning of the town code to prohibit the use of certain materials for fence screening, providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the town code not herein repealed, reenacted, or amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be effective but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, final item, status of the Wheelhouse license agreement for discussion only. Mr. Judy, welcome.
Mayor, Council, we wanted to come before you tonight to give you an update on the Wheelhouse. If I can get the presentation up on there, that will give me some of my cues. But just to give you a brief history, and many of you are aware, the town purchased what was then known as the Coors Event Center or the Exhibition Center from Yavapai County back in 2021. Later that same year, we entered into an agreement with the Wheelhouse to run the facility as a youth and adult sports complex. Last year, we revised that agreement that would allow them to offset their license payments with improvements to the building. And that same year, they also assigned the agreement to a new nonprofit as per the agreement, per the language in the agreement. It's been a busy couple of months out there. The town began a forensic audit of the Wheelhouse, and we've been meeting with board members of the Wheelhouse as well. In recent discussions with them, they have informed us that they do not have a long-term financially feasible model to continue operating the facility. So we began internally looking at ways that we could program the facility going forward. You can see the zoning for the facility, in fact, the entire area except the NACA distribution center there is zoned as public land. So the definition from our town code said that's to be used for public or quasi-public uses. So as we looked at that and began envisioning the use of the center, we came up with some kind of nodes of use for the facility, and I'll just go through some of those. 1A and 1B, as you can see in the exhibit, could potentially be put out for a request for proposals for new vendors to operate the facility. We've already been approached by one potential tenant that is interested in running a indoor-outdoor recreation facility. We let them know that if we pursue that direction, that we would be issuing a competitive RFP just to make sure there was nobody out there that would be interested in the facility as well. There is a use out there that we would like to try to preserve. In area 2 there is a BMX track and a RC racetrack course. Those are not things that exist anywhere in the area to my knowledge, and they've been very popular with the people that use them. Number 3 is potentially a use for our parks maintenance facility. They are currently housed at our Long Mesa yard and are in the same facility as our Public Works and Utilities departments, so it's very tight there and they don't have a lot of room to operate. There are 2 modular buildings on the south side of that parcel that are actually in very good condition. We were able to enter those a couple of weeks ago, and amazingly, for not having been used for many, many years, they are in actually excellent condition. And the property to the west there could be used as a yard for storage of some of the parks materials that they have. Area 5 is where actually our police department has a canine training facility. They were fortunate to receive a grant a little while ago where they take our canines out there and do some agility training with them, obedience training, so that has been a great facility for them. Area 4, we've not designated a use yet, but that could be programmed in the future. So at this stage, this is not an action item. We just wanted to update the council and get your opinion on this moving forward. We would be going forward in an engagement process with the public, with users at the facility, and with neighbors. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Council, we have questions. Councilman Freund?
Thank you, Mr. Judy. One concern first of all, it's a series of unfortunate events that led to this, and I feel bad about the whole thing, but we have to make the best of it. I understand that there's a dance studio there, and that the owner of the dance studio has put in considerable funds into that facility and may lose that if we were to close it. So could you address that situation, please?
Yes, Mayor and Council, absolutely. If the town goes forward with a RFP, as we have suggested, we would directly enter into an agreement with that dance studio where they would where they would be paying the town directly for the space that they're using. So we recognize they have put in a significant investment into that facility, so we would just become a direct lessor-lessee relationship with them.
Piggybacking on what the councilman said, so we go out for an RFP, they're going to understand that, hey, there is already other variables that you need to consider coming to the town if that's what they want to put their proposal to. They'll understand that, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yes, sir.
Awesome, thank you. Councilwoman?
I remember when that purchase was made, there was a lot of deferred maintenance on the building itself. I believe Tom Arnold had said he was going to spend, or Charlie Arnold, I'm sorry, was going to spend $375,000 in that first year to work on some of those repairs. Do you know what got done? Where are we at with the building? Is it up to par now, or does it still need a lot of work?
Yeah, Mayor, Councilmember Kill, it is an older facility, so there's still work that needs to be done. There have been significant improvements to the facility. There were lots of spoils that were removed. The road was paved, and the area in front of the entrance was paved as well. There were some LED lights added. They were able to submit credit reimbursements for just over $200,000 that offset their license payments. There will undoubtedly be additional work that the town will need to consider. And should the town take over, maintenance and operations of the facility, we'll be having to cover utility costs. Those are all things that will have to be planned for.
I believe at that time too, they said that to have the lights on was $300 a day. Have improvements been made so that that's more affordable?
Mayor, Councilmember Kill, yes, they did add LED lights, so that's what they used primarily. So I know those costs have come down.
I believe also back in, I think doing the RFP is the greatest thing that's going to happen for the town. We get an opportunity to hear a wide variety of interested individuals or businesses that will be able to benefit or create a better footprint up there. With that being said, I believe during our council retreat, Councilman Freund mentioned that he was interested in some sort of dirt car racetrack up in that area or in an area in Prescott Valley. I would just like to encourage staff to continue with that open mind in regards to locations up in that area. I know the councilman has met with individuals who are interested in that, and it's something that I believe he feels very passionate about, I would say. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, thank you. If it's not viable as a horse track, we have to do something about it. And of course, if it was any kind of a motorsports facility, I would press for, and I think every reasonable person would press for having, race mufflers so that it wasn't a nuisance to the neighboring RV park or other people. So that's a given, I think. And so we, in any form, we want it to be a responsible use that would not be an annoyance to neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else for staff? Sir, are you good with the direction? We're going to head out for an RFP, at least.
We'll continue.
We look forward to you coming back with some ideas and possibilities. And again, what the councilman mentioned in regards to the current tenants up there, we need to be good stewards of the property and recognize what they've done up there. So
thank you.
I'm all set. That being said, folks, we're at the end of our agenda. Is there anything good for the order we would like to cover that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, Everyone have a great night. Meeting adjourned.